Hi guys, welcome to the first edition of our new podcast, Spicy Tea. Today, I have a special guest with me.
It's Angie, you guys!
It's Angie.
Oh my god! Wow! Woo!
I'm Sofia.
I'm Pam.
And this is Spicy Tea.
Why is it spicy?
Today we're going to be talking about conspiracy theories.
You mean those crazy stuff crazy people talk about all the time?
Yes. This is a conspiracy of the 1824 election.
Of course it has to do with presidents and stuff.
It's always the government. It's always the election. So, in the 1824 election, the candidates were Andrew Jackson, John Quincy Adams, Henry Clay, and William Crawford. And in the election, Andrew Jackson was the one who won the most votes out of everyone. He won that state, that one over there, region, whatever. So he did really well.
He was going
compared to
places.
everyone else, right?
Yeah.
They were like, "Ooh, Andrew Jackson, he gonna be the president, right?"
Mm-hmm.
But then, turns out he didn't win the majority of votes. And when they say they didn't win the majority of votes, that just means that they basically didn't get the amount of votes required to win.
Mm-hmm.
So what they had to do was they had to make a runoff election, which is basically just a second election. In this one, it was the top 3 candidates. Nowadays, I think it's the top 2. But so then the top 3 candidates had to go into a runoff election. And everyone was like, Andrew Jackson ain't gonna be the president, right? Because he won the most votes. Nay, nay. What ended up happening was that John Quincy Adams won president. And so the conspiracy people are like, that's a little fishy.
That's pretty suspicious.
That's suspicious.
That's weird.
Then after he became president, Henry Clay actually became Secretary of State. And so people were like, that's a little weird, because Henry Clay in the regular elections, he got 4th place. So he wasn't doing too good. And they were like,
This don't add up. This math doesn't make sense.
The conspiracy started that John Quincy Adams got help from Henry Clay to get more votes on his side, so that, and then in turn Henry Clay would become Secretary of State. And so they're like, Henry Clay did something with John Adams so that he would become president. And so that was the theory. So many people really believed into this conspiracy that in the elections of 1828, Andrew Jackson again ran for president, right? And he did end up winning. And this is probably the start of conspiracy theories in America, or American government, because in the 1828 elections, people were like, oh, that conspiracy theory last time, that one was really bringing votes down. Let me see. And so then people started coming up with more conspiracies. So they were playing into oh yeah, Henry Clay and John Adams conspiracy, vote for Jackson. And then other people, they were like, well, Andrew Jackson, him and his supporters, yeah, they're kind of crazy, and they're gonna do a rebellion if he doesn't win. So that's why they're trying to do all that. They're trying to do the most. And the conspiracies, they continued all throughout Andrew Jackson's presidency, but he still won.
He still won, like a trooper, you know?
Like a trooper.
Like a trooper.
Yeah. And so that was the first conspiracy.
Crazy, you know? Presidents in general, the whole idea of people just running and fighting for their role.
I feel like they do that so much in the government. They just accuse other people of conspiracies and stuff so that they can make themselves look better.
But they're not.
But they're not. I mean, most of the conspiracies are not true, you know?
Yeah.
They're yeah, that's a lie. Next theory. The very famous assassination of John F. Kennedy.
Ooh.
President John F. Kennedy.
Sir President.
Killed right here.
Right here?
Right here.
In this very room?
Not quite.
Okay.
In Dallas, Texas. So, John F. Kennedy was assassinated in 1963 during a motorcade in Dallas, Texas. Motorcade is just... He was driving around in his car.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't driving, but...
He wasn't driving, but...
He was being in the car, like in the backseat with his wife, and they were like, beep beep.
They were driving him around in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Through Dallas, Texas, when he got shot. There are many conspiracies as to who killed him, even though, you know, they caught the killer.
Yeah, they caught the killer.
Lee Harvey Oswald. Oswald was arrested for the assassination of the president and was executed on live television 2 days later. So, like, 2 days after they arrested him,
Whoa.
he got executed on live television. The actual conspiracies, there are many as to the assassination of the president, but among the popular ones is that the CIA ordered Oswald to kill the president because they didn't like the president's reaction to communism and the Bay of Pigs invasion. Basically, his reaction to communism, though, was that he wanted to get rid of it. And so he was like, I got a plan to stop communism.
And they're like, no.
Maybe. Who knows? And the Bay of Pigs invasion was a failed attempt to take down the communist government in Cuba. And apparently, the president didn't support the idea of the invasion to begin with. Also, the one that Cuba sent Oswald to kill the president because of the U.S.'s many attempts to kill their leader, Fidel Castro. So they tried to kill him many times. Even though Fidel Castro, he actually came out and was like, they were kind of like, that's too risky.
Yeah.
They were like, we wouldn't do that.
Cuba didn't do it. Alright, next conspiracy theory.
Okay, next conspiracy theory is about a group called QAnon.
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 QAnon. So it is a loosely organized community of people who believe that there is a secret group of Satan-worshipping pedophiles controlling the deep state government and who are trying to take down former President Trump.
Well, Trump isn't a president anymore, so I'm pretty sure we could stop that society right now. Please.
Please stop.
Please stop.
Please stop. And I'll tell you why you should stop. Like, once you hear about QAnon, you're going to be like...
I'm pretty sure that intro should have made you stop.
Yes, but if you're not convinced...
We're going to convince you more.
I'm going to convince you why exactly QAnon has to stop.
Okay.
They're crazy. But clearly you can... They started up, like, shortly after, maybe like a few months after President Trump was made president. Started out on message boards and then spread to social media. Once it started gaining followers and popularity, people started to go out into the real world trying to carry out their plans to take down pedophiles. Which, I mean, that's a good cause.
Yeah.
Take down pedophiles.
Please.
But, you know, only if you know they're pedophiles.
Yeah. Oh, and only if you know how to actually stop?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. They believe that Mr. Trump was recruited to secretly take down the satanic cult since the 90s and that he is secretly sending QAnon followers coded messages from his misspelled tweets. So they're like, he's been undercover for QAnon since the 90s. And they're like, the misspelled tweets? Code.
What kind of code?
I have no clue, but they're like he's sending us messages.
Like, if we put all the misspelled words together, what is it gonna say?
QAnon.
QAnon?
They also believe that there's an anonymous government official who is posting information of a battle between Mr. Trump and the alleged members of the satanic pedophile murder ring. They believe that the satanic pedophile ring is killing and eating children to live longer.
You know there's something called actual food? You don't have to eat children.
Don't eat children.
Don't eat children.
Also, coincidentally, let me just tell you, coincidentally, all the people who are accused of being in this satanic pedophile cult, Democrats, people who go against President Trump, and even some, like, famous people. Like, people think Hillary Clinton. She's part of that cult, apparently. She's eating children.
Oh my god.
Oprah.
Oprah?
Oprah's eating children.
Oh my god, Oprah, stop.
Stop. She's not, though. They believe that there will be an event called the Storm of the Great Awakening, where many high-power people will be exposed, arrested, and forced to pay for their crimes, and then the world will enter utopia once everyone realizes that QAnon was correct. Let me list you a list of things that they have done. So, there was a man who shot up a DC pizza restaurant while trying to find pedophiles. A man stopped traffic on the Hoover Dam armed with a rifle and shotgun, stating that he was on a mission from QAnon. A man was arrested for shooting and killing a well-known mob boss, saying that he was motivated by QAnon. And there was even a foiled president assassination plot, a California wildfire, and an armed standoff with police in Arizona that have all been linked to QAnon followers.
Who knows? Because it kind of reminds me of that one story where these two girls had a sleepover with another girl, and they took her to the forest, and they just straight up killed her. And then the police came, and they're like, why did you do it? They're like, oh, Slender Man made me do it.
Slender Man made me do it. I'm sorry.
Yep.
My bad.
My bad. Slender Man.
Jeez. Wasn't my fault at all.
I still wonder. People be crazy.
Finally, one more thing I want to mention.
Okay.
That, of course, I mean, you're probably thinking, this whole QAnon thing, they're all, like, supporting Trump. So what does Trump have to say?
Oh, yeah, what does Trump have to say? What's his side of the story?
His side of the story, he's like, oh, QAnon? He said in a public statement, he was like, I don't really know much about the organization, but they like me, so
he supports.
He basically supports them.
Oh my god.
Like saying that they're fine people. You know, they're good.
They like me? Oh, they're good. They hate me? Oh, get rid of them. No. Police!
Yeah, he was like, they're not that bad. QAnon, go off, sis.
He probably doesn't even know what they do. He probably thinks it's just like a fan group.
He probably knows what they do, but since they support him, he's like acting like he doesn't and like tries to cover it up or something. So that was our conspiracy theories.
Yeah. That
we wanted to share. So, what did we learn today?
We learned that we shouldn't trust the government. You know, it's been a thing now that the government has been doing some pretty sus things.
Sus.
It's pretty sus.
Government sus.
Government sus. They are sus.
Yeah.
And that theories are just something that people say whenever the government does something something that's unexplainable, so they don't feel uncomfortable with the whole idea that there's something happening and we don't know what it is.
It like affects what you do in your daily life.
Yeah.
It affects how you think of the government, like political status.
Yeah.
You know, because they use it in politics a lot for some reason. They're like, let's use conspiracy theories. So they like always use it to promote one person, bring down another person.
It's just this whole crazy thing.
It's basically just spreading rumors. Gossip girls.
That's what we learned.
That's what we learned.
And I hope
conspiracy theories.
Yeah, I hope you guys learned something too with us.
And if you didn't,
you can rewatch this video.
If there's one thing that you should take away from this,
don't eat children.